Hi everyone, this is Carmel with the Wealth Creation Channel, the channel where we talk about all things money with the goal of building real wealth. All right, today's topic we're going to talk about is the paying yourself first principle. So if you guys remember, the last time we spoke about the importance of an emergency fund, how each family should have about, $1,000 to $2,000 per person for savings in their emergency fund, and about $5,000 to $10,000 range for the entire household period. And so one of the things that I know a lot of people were wondering is how exactly, can you find, $1,000 to $2,000, let alone $5,000 to $10,000 to save when, a lot of people are struggling just to make ends meet. We're living, most Americans truthfully are living paycheck to paycheck. And, it's really difficult finding a spare dollar to even spend, let alone that much money to be able to save for an emergency fund. Well, the principle that I know that has personally helped me is called the paying yourself first principle. And so what exactly is this? Well, let's talk about that. The paying yourself first principle is basically when each and every time that you receive any sort of income, money, whatever, you decide to, in essence, pay yourself first, a certain consistent percentage or dollar amount. So let's say every paycheck you get paid every 2 weeks. You decide every paycheck you're going to save, 10% of your income, which will go to you. That's what you call paying yourself first. You're going to set aside 5%. You're going to set aside 2%. You're going to set aside 30%. The bottom line is it's consistent. So if you make a little bit more, if you make a little bit less, in the end, you're still going to make sure that you are giving yourself this 5%, this 10%, or whatever percentage you decided. All right. It can also be a dollar amount. So let's say every pay you decide that you're going to go ahead and give yourself $100, $200, $1,000, whatever it is. This is what we call the pay yourself first principle. And you do this religiously like it's a bill. So the same way you budget out your bills, Verizon and the water bill and the gas bill and, your mortgage or your rent, yourself is the very first bill that you pay. So now I know some of you are saying, well, how does that make sense? Once again, did I not hear you? Money is tight. One of the things that worked for me, and I really want you guys to understand, is that the reason why the pay yourself first principle, or philosophy works so well is because the truth of the matter is bills will always be there. Expenses will always be there. That's rule number one. Bills and expenses will never go away. They will never die. They will always be there. And the second truth that I need you guys to understand, and this is something that really, I guess, worked for me, is that the truth of the matter is most people will spend exactly what they make. What does that mean? Let's say if you bring home $1,000 a paycheck, most people will find a way to spend all $1,000. If they got $6 left over at the end of that paycheck, they're going to find a way to go ahead and purchase, spend up that last $6. Same thing. Let's say they were used to making $1,000 a paycheck, and then they just got a promotion. Now they're making $2,000 a paycheck. You better believe most people will find a way to go ahead and use all $2,000 of those dollars. Hey, it's time for a new car upgrade. Oh, so-and-so needs, little Jimmy needs new sneakers or soccer cleats or whatever else. People will find a way to spend that money. So what the pay yourself first principle is basically telling you to do is to basically, just like you would any bill, allocate yourself as a bill. And then the whole purpose of that is that it helps you in two ways. One, because you're consistently allocating this bill towards yourself to pay as a bill. Then, in essence, you've always got consistent money that can be used for two reasons. One, to be used as savings, and one to be used for your personal needs. I'm going to talk about both items first. in theory, what the whole pay yourself first does is that, let's say, once again, I decide to pay myself, $200 every paycheck. Then what happens is that means that I have $200 to be able to use whatever it is that I want. So if I want to use it to go out to eat, if I want to use it to, buy some new clothing, if I wanted to use it to, whatever it is that I want to do, that's my discretionary money to do what I want to do. And so with that in mind, and once that $200 is done, then that means that that's it. So what's the power of that? The power of that is that helps to control my consumption. It helps to control how much money that I'm actually using on, in essence, unimportant items. And you'll be surprised at the amount of money that slips through our hands each and every week, almost each and every day, to be honest. So if that money is gone, then no more Starbucks habit for the remainder of the pay until the next time I get my next pay myself. So with that in mind, that is one of the things, the beauty of the pay yourself. Now, tie it back to what we talked about, the importance of building an emergency fund. If you don't have an emergency fund, then that has to also be priority number one. And so with that in mind, the whole premise with the pay yourself is that if you're allocating a certain dollar amount or percentage each and every week to be paid, then what eventually happens is that you now have got money that's growing that you can take and set aside to go ahead and save for you. My recommendation is that you actually do both, because one of the worst feelings in the world for anybody is to go ahead and work hard. And I know most people work hard day in and day out, and feel like you really have nothing to show for it, that you can't even take a few dollars to yourself to do something nice for yourself or enjoyable for yourself. So I do recommend that you go ahead and you do a pay yourself percentage or dollar amount, and that money is going to go strictly towards building up your emergency savings. And then you do another pay yourself dollar amount that go towards your consumption. So I'll give you an example. And this really helped me. Like I think I told you guys before, I was the queen of bad finances, like the queen. And I struggled, day in and day out to make ends meet, I talked about that before. And so one of the things that really helped me was the pay yourself, where finally, I decided, okay, I'm going to go. And once I did that, because I heard that once again, the bills will always be there. And I thought about it. That's true. So what else do I have to lose? So what did I turn around and do? I turned around, and each paycheck, I started putting aside $100. Just $100. And what did I do? I actually went to another bank. So not my main bank where my money was being deposited. I went to another bank, and I opened up an account, and then I filled out a form to actually have money transferred from my paycheck every 2 weeks. When I was getting paid, $100 would go into this account. And that would be used to build up my emergency savings. So at first it was, nothing big, but over time I got excited, saying, hey, I've got $500 saved. I've got $1,000 saved. I got, whatever amount saved. And I was like, I've never been able to save that kind of money in my life. And what was even more amazing was I still was getting, my bills were still being paid. The second reason why I think that was also important was because I also implemented the pay myself with for me, in terms of not just for savings, but I also took out $150 every pay that was used for me to spend as I want, for me and for my son. So I could use that money to go out to eat. I could use that money for entertainment purposes, go to a movie or whatever, buy myself a little something nice to wear, whatever. But that was for $150 for 2 weeks. So that means $75 a week. So some weeks I would spend less, and then that means meant I had more to spend the next week, or some weeks I spent more and then I had less to spend the next week. So the bottom line is, I think that was part of the reason why that helped me, because now I was giving myself a budget to use, and that kind of curbed a lot of the discretion, the unnecessary spending that I was doing. So that's that. So one of the things I want to encourage you guys is that, yes, the pay yourself first principle really does work. If you're consistent, I mean, I literally had to do it. And if that meant that I had less money coming in, less money at the end of a pay, oh well, because the truth of the matter is most of that money was being wasted to begin with. If you guys don't believe me, I challenge you. Go back to your bank accounts. Go back to your credit cards, bank accounts, whatever, anywhere where you spent money, and look at your statements for the last 2-3 months. I want you to go ahead and look at them and write down each and every expense that you spent in terms of categories. So look at your bills. Look at your eating out. Look at your entertainment. Look at your clothing. Look at all of that stuff, and then see exactly where your money has been going to. And I will venture to say that 9 out of 10 times, most people, I mean, there are some people who really are in very dire circumstances, but for most people, there's an area of, in essence, waste or too much spending, what I call overconsumption, which is really what's eating out at our abilities to save. So that's one tip I want to leave you about the paying yourself first principle. And I do that all the time. Right now, I'm a new business owner. And even with my business, every penny that I make from this business, I make it a habit to still implement that practice. I have the money that goes to the operating expenses. I have the money that goes towards the taxes. I have the money that goes towards my salary. And I've got the money that goes to my profit. And I do it percentage-wise for each and every penny that comes into my business. So it's important. Personally, it's important for business-wise, okay? And that will help to build up your emergency savings. Now, the second thing I want to tell you, and these are some tools that helped me, other than just the pay myself first principle, was some apps in order to build up my emergency savings. There was an app that I downloaded called Digit, and oh my gosh, I absolutely loved this app. Now, at the time when I started using it, the app was free. And then later on, the app became $2.99. And then I just checked, the app is now $5. But let me tell you about the app, and you can make up your mind if if you're interested or not, if you want to use it, if this could be helpful to helping you reach your savings goals. So with this app, Digit, D-I-G-I-T, basically what you do is that you link it up to your bank account. And trust me, it's safe. At first I was reluctant, but it's now it's 2019. This is the world we live in. Technology is going nowhere. So you link it up to your bank account, and it's FDIC insured, all right, meaning that up to $250,000 is insured by the federal government of your money. So completely safe. Don't worry about that. And so what happens is once you link it up to your bank account, each and every day, this app takes a little bit of money from your account, and you do it based on your comfort level. So you can do it as a mild sort of setting. You could do it in a more aggressive sort of setting. But nonetheless, each and every day it takes a dollar amount. So, for example, for me, it was taking, let's say one day it would take like 75 cents. Then the next day it take like $3. And the next day it take like $1.25. And then the next day it take like $2 or whatever. And, one day it may take $10, and what's interesting is that it's very smart. It was very intuitive. It basically learned your habits. So it would start to notice, hey, when I got paid, that's when I tend to have more money. And it would take out a little bit more money around my paydays. And then the further and further I got from my pay periods, it would take out less money. So I used to crack up about that. But nonetheless, what's cool about that is that in essence, when I would look back and see, pay period to pay period, and then later on, month to month, how much I was saving, it was unbelievable, the amount of money that I was saving through this app. And even better, this is the thing that really got me on this quest to really get my finances in order was that I didn't miss the money. So I would look back at my account and see hundreds of dollars saved in my digit account. And next thing, I didn't even miss the money from my regular bank account. And yet my bills were still getting paid. So I was like, wait a minute, how the hell did I save all of this money when I swore I never had any money to begin with? And so that's really the wake-up call that really encouraged me to go back and really do some digging into my finances to find out where the hell was all my money really going, where I swore I was broke and I was sitting there robbing Peter to pay Paul all this time and doing whatever. That is the kicker, the Digit app that did that for me. So for that reason, even later on when they started charging $2.99 for it, I was kind of salty, but I thought it was still worth it because it just helped me until I developed discipline on my own to really consistently make it a habit to save. But eventually I did get the habit. And so I no longer have Digit. I do that religiously on my own. So that is the one thing that I want you guys to understand. That Digit app is fantastic. Downside, it costs $5, but it can be a great tool if you were like me and, had difficulty saving on your own. Okay. The next app I'm going to tell you about is Capital. And actually, this is an app that I still use. Capital is an app like Digit. And both apps, let me also let you know, they have features embedded where when your account balances run low, they actually stop withdrawing from your account and you can pause them at any time. And Digit now has it where you can actually set goals, whether it's for vacation or whatever it is you want to. And it'll help, take out money to help you to meet those goals during the deadlines you set. But anyway, going back to Capital, it's Qapital, so no you, but all right. But anyway, Capital is also a great app. It works similar to Digit where you hook up your money, your bank account to this app. But one of the differences with Capital is that you set rules to your money. So how it saves, let's say, the only reason I use it is for the workout room. So with that in mind, every time that I work out, I've got it hooked up to my Apple Watch, or is it my phone, whatever. And basically, it reads when I work out for at least 30 minutes a day. So if I work out for 30 minutes a day, then $2 automatically gets saved into this app. And so the reason I use it is to continuously encourage me to go ahead and work out. And it's pretty cool to see how much money, accumulates at the end of a month or even longer, and you take the money out whenever I want to do something nice because I've been working out to save the money. So that's a really cool reason. But another rule that's pretty cool is the roundup rule. So when I first started using the money, using the app, I used to use the roundup rule. But like I said, I don't really use it for the purpose of saving anymore because I do that on my own now. I pay myself first all the time. But the roundup rule is basically, let's say you save where it basically rounds up to the next dollar or two that you spend. So let's say that I spent 79 cents, right? If I spent 79 cents, it's going to round it up to the nearest dollar. So then that's 21 cents that's available. So it'll take that 21 cents from what I spent for my debit card. It'll take that extra 21 cents and save it for me. So each and every time I'm spending, I'm saving. So that's actually pretty cool because you're getting savings on your spending. All right. And then what's also happening is that, like Digit, one day you're going to look in your account and say, dang, how did all that money get into this account? And even more importantly, without you missing it. So, and then there's all sorts of rules on Capital. I haven't explored those options. I just know I use the workout rule from there. And definitely can help you. You can withdraw the money at any time. It goes back into your bank account. So does Digit. And then you can go ahead and put those into your emergency savings accounts. So one other thing I want to recommend to you, like I did, separate your funds. Don't leave your emergency savings with the bank account that you go into all the time for your savings. I'd even recommend don't even carry the debit card with you all the time. Or maybe if you want to be more aggressive, don't even get a debit card. But sometimes you may need it. So I wouldn't go there yet. But definitely I would go there with don't carry the debit card around you all the time. And so then that way you're not tempted to use the money, on a whim all the time. All right. So that's another app. The third app I'm going to tell you about is Acorns. This is the only app that I did not use. I downloaded it, but unfortunately I didn't use, and I'll tell you why in a second. So what Acorns does is it's like Capital in a sense that it takes out your money each and every time that you spend, but it rounds up to the nearest dollar. So it just takes your spare change and, save it for you. But instead of just saving it for you, it actually invests the money for you. So it takes whatever your money is and then it invests it for you. So the cool thing about that, would be that you're actually not just putting your money into a savings account, you're actually putting it into an account that can be invested, which means you're getting you have the potential to get more gains on your money than you would in a savings account. So the good thing about that is, once again, you got some potential for gains. The bad thing about that could be that, it's your emergency savings. And so with the investing, anything can happen with an investment at any time. Of course, over the long term, investing always wins out. But in the short term, anything can happen at any time. So if you need the money and it happens to be a no good time when you're trying to pull that money out, that could be something to consider. Also, I'm not sure, but there more than likely will be taxes that you're going to have to pay on the profit, not on your gain, on the profit. But then again, if you're getting free money, why should you care as much? I'm not going to say period. We'll learn about that way later on, as much, how you're getting taxed on the money. Third thing is that, you're not really choosing your investments. They're investing for you, which may be good for someone who's not knowledgeable, which brings me back to the point why I never used the app. Once I came to find out about the app, I've already started investing on my own. And so, because I learned how to invest on my own, I didn't really feel the need to go ahead and use the app at all. Definitely, I would look at it more as, not to say play, because money, you never play with money, but definitely not something you use for serious investing. Okay? So with all of that said, what I wanted to do was just to give you guys some insight as to how you can realistically build up your emergency savings and why the pay yourself first principle is really important in helping you to do that. And like I explained to you, building up that emergency savings is one of the first steps that you need to take in order to build real wealth. And then what we're going to talk about in a later date is controlling consumption. Controlling your spending habits. And so with pay myself principle, it helps you to do that. Paying yourself first helps you to do that. So if you like the content in this video, if you found it helpful, please, what I'd like you to do is to like and subscribe to the channel. And also feel free to share the video with anyone that you feel that you would like to win as well. Okay? Until next time, you have a nice day.